Ever wonder about those A students? You know, the ones who just seem to get it, absorbing info like a sponge and acing every single exam? What if I told you they're not always playing by the rule book your teachers handed out? What if the real gap between barely passing and totally nailing it comes down to a few forbidden tricks they keep to themselves? Seriously, forget everything you think you know about slogging away for hours. It's time to study smart. So smart, it almost feels like cheating. The problem, why hard work isn't enough. For years, right? You've been told that success means endless highlighting, rereading till your eyes blur, and those soul-crushing late-night cram sessions. You put in the hours, you're exhausted, but your grades? Meh, often just average. It's super frustrating, makes you want to give up, and maybe even think, are some people just born smarter? But what if the issue isn't you or your brain, but the ancient, inefficient methods you've been stuck with? What if there's a faster, almost effortless way to not just learn stuff, but to actually master it? Here's a little secret. Top students often stumble upon or get quietly taught these powerful learning hacks based on how the brain really works. They're so effective, they can feel like a cheat code. And yeah, they're not always shouting these from the rooftops. The shift, studying smarter, not just harder. Well, today that all changes. We're pulling back the curtain on the learning techniques that can genuinely flip your study habits on their head and help you see exam results you probably thought were impossible. These aren't just little tips. They're game-changing shifts in how you approach learning. Get ready to discover a few of these closely guarded strategies, including some powerful ways to make things stick in your memory and one surprisingly simple secret that can make learning feel almost too easy. Section 1. Active recall, the secret weapon they don't teach you. All right. First up in our forbidden toolkit is something called active recall. This isn't about just letting information wash over you. It's about actively yanking it out of your brain. So, instead of rereading your notes for the 10th time, we've all been there. You're actually quizzing yourself. Now, why would this be guarded? Honestly, because it's so ridiculously simple. But man, is it powerful. Old school studying, like rereading, feels productive, but it's often like trying to write in sand. The info just disappears. Active recall, though, that forces your brain to build stronger connections, making memories deeper and way more durable. So how do you do it? Simple. Stop rereading. Start asking. Make flashcards, digital, physical, whatever works. Cook up your own exam questions from your notes and try to answer them without peeking. Try teaching the concepts to your pet goldfish, an empty chair, or even a patient friend. That little struggle you feel when you're trying to remember something, that's the magic happening. It's like a workout for your brain. The effort builds real mental muscle. Section 2, the Feynman technique, making genius simple. Next, we got a technique so powerful, it feels like you've suddenly found a cheat code for understanding. The Feynman technique. It's named after Richard Feynman, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who was a master at explaining super complex stuff in really simple terms. This isn't just about memorizing facts. It's about really getting it. The forbidden part? It brutally exposes what you don't know, forcing you to face those gaps in your understanding. Something most of us try to avoid, right? Here's how it works. Grab a concept you're trying to learn. Now, try to explain it in the simplest terms you can, like you're talking to a kid. Use analogies, keep the language basic. If you get stuck, or find yourself using a bunch of jargon, that's a red flag. That's your cue to go back to your study materials. Figure out that tricky part, and then try explaining it again. Keep going until it's crystal clear and super simple. Trust me, this makes even the toughest topics stick like glue. Section 3. Space repetition, the effortless long game. Ever wonder how some students remember so much for so long without looking like they're constantly cramming? They're likely using a sneaky little principle called space repetition. This is where learning can start to feel too easy because you're not trying to jam everything into your brain all at once. Instead, you review stuff at increasing time intervals, right around the time you naturally start to forget it. It might sound a bit backward. Why not just drill it in nonstop? Because our brains are actually wired to hold on to information much better when we revisit it strategically over time. Want to try it? After you learn something new, take another look at it pretty soon after, like the next day, then check it again a few days later, then maybe a week later, and so on. There are apps like Anki designed specifically for this, but you can totally set up your own simple system too. This method fights off that pesky forgetting curve and moves knowledge into your long-term memory much more effectively than any all-nighter ever could. Section 4. The 20-minute trick, Parkinson's Law flipped. And now, for that super simple secret that a lot of high achievers use, maybe without even realizing it. They flip Parkinson's Law on its head. You probably heard of Parkinson's Law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Basically, if you give yourself 3 hours to do something, it'll take 3 hours. But what if you dramatically cut down that time? So, instead of saying, I'm going to study for 3 hours, just commit to 20 or 25 minutes of absolutely focused work. Think of it as one solid Pomodoro session. The secret here is that this tiny, almost laughable commitment tricks your brain. It makes the idea of starting so unintimidating that procrastination just kind of shrivels up and dies. And what's cool is, once you actually start and get a bit of momentum, you'll often want to keep going. This little trick bypasses all that mental resistance and can lead to some incredibly productive sessions, making huge tasks feel totally manageable and, yep, almost too easy to begin. A quick reality check. Now, let's be real for a second. Are these techniques some kind of magic pill? Nope. While they can definitely make learning feel way easier compared to those old, inefficient methods, they still need you to show up and be consistent. The whole forbidden or controversial vibe often just comes from the fact that they challenge the traditional, often mind-numbingly passive, ways of studying we've all been taught. Real rapid learning is about using smart strategies, not about finding shortcuts to avoid any effort at all. And hey, don't forget the basics that keep your brain happy. Good sleep, decent food, and a bit of exercise can make a massive difference to how well you learn anything. Your turn. Unlock your learning power. So, there you have it. Some seriously powerful, almost underground techniques that can completely change how you learn. It's time to stop struggling with methods that just don't cut it. Start playing around with active recall. Simplify things with the Feynman technique. Use spaced repetition to your advantage. And trick your brain into action with those super short study bursts. You've got the ideas now to make learning way more effective and a heck of a lot less painful. Which of these forbidden hacks are you excited to try first? Drop a comment below and let me know. And hey, if you're ready to ditch the old grind and really transform your grades and how you feel about studying, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more insights that can give you that unfair edge and get ready to see some amazing results.